For a lot of people, Christianity is nothing but a set of rules, a checklist to complete. You're a Christian if and only if you read your Bible, you go to church on Sundays, you pray, you get baptized, and if you can't tick all these boxes, you're going to hell. In principle, these are important, yes, but they don't dictate whether you're a Christian or not, and they certainly don't dictate whether you're going to hell or not, and for good reason too, because if it was up to rules, we'd all be in hell. You see, calling yourself a Christian won't save you, following the rules won't save you, reading your Bible, going to church, praying every night, none of it means anything if you don't actually have a relationship with Jesus. I used to be one of those people who thought checking all the boxes would make me right with God, but something always felt a little off. Like I was just performing, hoping for approval. I would wake up and read my Bible at the same time every morning. I would pray, I would do all of these things, but if I'm completely honest with you, I hated doing it. It almost felt like another form of school. Like you have to be at school at a certain time. You can't grow your hair too long. You have to wear a school uniform. You have to do all of these things because those are the rules you have to comply with if you'd like to successfully graduate eventually. The version of Christianity I knew back then felt exactly the same. Like I had to do all of these tasks if I wanted to eventually enter the kingdom of heaven. Praise Jesus, after 28 years of being blinded by the world and by religion, I was introduced to the true gospel and what it really means to be a Christian, and that's why I'm here today making this video. The truth is, it's not about rules, it's about knowing Jesus. And when you actually meet him, that's when everything changes. That's when you stop trying to follow the rules because you're scared of going to hell, but instead you start following the rules because you love the creator of them. And that doesn't mean it's okay to sin, because it's not. And sins have serious consequences. But the reality is we all do sin. We all mess up, which is why if getting to heaven was about being good enough, none of us would even stand a chance. The Bible makes that clear in Romans 3 verse 23, which says, "For all have sinned and fall short of the glory of God." Every single one of us has failed. No matter how much we try, we will never reach perfection. Yet many people still carry this pressure to perform, to prove to God and to others that they're a good Christian. But that mindset is exhausting, and it's not what Christianity is all about. When we make faith all about rules, we miss the core of Christianity, which is having a true, genuine relationship with Jesus Christ. We start thinking God only loves us when we're at our best. But the truth is, his love never depended on our performance. That's what so many people get wrong. They either get caught up in religion, constantly trying to be good enough, or they give up altogether, thinking they'll never measure up. But both of those paths miss the point entirely, because here's what really changes you. Not guilt, not fear, but love. Because when you truly love someone, the desire to sin, or rather the desire to hurt the person, disappears. It's like when you love your parents or your siblings or your partner, you love them so much that you would never want to hurt them purposefully. It's the same with Jesus. The closer you grow to him, the better your relationship is, the more you love him and the less you'll actually want to hurt him. You can try to force yourself to be better, but true transformation happens when you truly know Jesus. And let's be real, if rules alone could change people, they would have worked by now. You wouldn't struggle with the same sins over and over. You wouldn't keep falling back into bad habits. If willpower was enough, none of us would need grace. But we do, because rules don't create lasting change. Relationship does. You can go to hell still dripping with water from baptism, because doing religious things doesn't mean you know God. You can read the Bible, you can go to church and follow all the rules, but still not have a real relationship with Jesus. The real question isn't, are you religious? The question is, do you know him? Because when you do, that's when your heart truly changes. And this is where a lot of people struggle. They grow up in church, they know all the rules, they try to live right, but they never actually meet Jesus. And because of that, Christianity starts feeling like a burden, or like I experienced it, like school, instead of the greatest source of peace. And that's why so many people leave the church, not because they don't believe in God, but because they've only experienced religion, not relationship. They've experienced school, just like I have. They were told to just have faith when they were struggling. They were given rules, but not grace. They were told to be perfect, but never shown how to walk with Jesus daily. So eventually, they give up. And I get it, because if Christianity was just about behavior modification, it would be exhausting. If it was just about trying harder, I'd want to quit too. In fact, I did quit at some point, but that's not the true gospel. Jesus said in Matthew 7, verse 22 to 23, "Many will say to me on that day, 'Lord, Lord, did we not prophesy in your name, and in your name drive out demons, and in your name perform many miracles?' Then I will tell them plainly, 'I never knew you. Away from me, you evildoers.'" That verse is terrifying, because it means you can spend your whole life believing you're doing the right things and you can still miss the entire point. It's not about memorizing verses. It's not about following a checklist. It's not even about going to church. Those things are important, yes, but they're not the foundation. It's about one thing. Do you know Jesus? Because if you don't, none of the rest matters. And when you understand that, that's when you stop following rules and start following Him. And that doesn't mean you'll never struggle again. It doesn't mean you'll never mess up. But when you really know Jesus, the things you used to run to for comfort won't feel the same anymore. Sin loses its appeal, not because you're scared of punishment, but because you've tasted something better. That's the real difference between religion and faith. Religion is about control. It says, follow these rules and maybe you'll be accepted. But faith is about freedom. It says, you are already loved. Now walk in that love. And here's the crazy part. When you walk in that love, you start changing naturally, not because someone is forcing you, not because you're afraid, but because love is transformative. When you fall in love with Jesus, your desires start shifting. The sins that once felt impossible to let go of start losing their grip. You're no longer trying to be good enough. You just want to be close to Him. That's what Jesus offers. Not a life of guilt, not a life of religious exhaustion, but a life of peace and of joy and of transformation. If this hits home for you, let me know in the comments. Maybe you've been stuck in religion and you never really knew Jesus. Or maybe you've been running from Him thinking you'll never be good enough. But here's the truth. Just like you don't need to be clean to take a shower, you don't need to be perfect to come to Jesus. In fact, it's the exact opposite. He came for the broken, for the lost, for the ones who can't fix themselves. Jesus says in Matthew 9, verse 13, "I have come to call not those who think they are righteous, but those who know they are sinners." If you had to be perfect before coming to Him, none of us would ever make it. But Jesus doesn't wait for you to clean yourself up. He meets you exactly where you are, and He's the one who transforms you. Wherever you're at, just know it's never too late to actually meet Him.